Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning to you all. Hope you guys are getting up and feeling well this morning. Got you an update weather-wise on what is likely going to unfold across portions of the country. I'm expecting a severe weather threat across portions of the Ohio Valley, even areas of the northern Mid-South, but mainly speaking of the Northeast, areas like New England. Could even have an isolated tornado threat, as basically that threat that we had yesterday of tornadoes is shifting east with this shortwave trough that is shifting east and southeasternly. So we're also going to talk about what is going on with that system, whatever it is in the northern Gulf of Mexico. We'll give a very brief update towards the tail end of the video. What's going on with that? We'll try to figure out what is going to happen with this system, as it is some firing up some convection as we speak right now. But if you guys have not subscribed, consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. It goes a long way, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Hit me up on social media. As always, Twitter, Facebook, it's a great way to interact, especially when things are really popping off. And I'm really active here in the Southeast because this is kind of where I started. So definitely if you're in the Southeast and just the South in general, and really anywhere, definitely hit me up on there. It's a great way to interact with what we do here. So if you guys got anything that I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. If you ever thought about joining my channel, join tab's right there. Goes a long way in helping out each month to put money towards making this a lot better for you guys for the future. So I really appreciate people who already do so. Let's get rolling this morning. Water vapor loop. It shows the shortwave trough very well. It's right here. You can actually see the dry air, the initial blast of, I wouldn't say a lot of dry air, but there's a little bit of dry air associated behind this cold front right here. And this is what's digging in. This will provide forcing for some thunderstorms today. Enough, I guess you can say, wind energy in the mid-levels of the atmosphere to provide maybe a little spin to the atmosphere to promote a little bit of a tornado threat in interior areas of the Northeast and New England today. So we'll watch out for that, and we'll talk about that in this video. And severe weather threat could stretch all the way down to Kentucky, maybe even Tennessee a little bit later tonight. We still got this plume of tropical moisture down here. This is extending all the way into the Carolinas, waking up to a little bit of cloud cover again throughout Georgia and the Carolinas today, and Florida, which is tropical moisture really close by. The further south you get in these regions, the more tropical it feels. And then a complex of storms right here in the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma that is decaying as we speak. Storm Prediction Center, this will be the biggest topic right here. A pretty large, strung out slight risk stretching all the way from eastern Kentucky all the way up to Maine. So every little city in this yellow area right here. Some bigger cities also, Charleston, West Virginia, almost down to Roanoke, Virginia. This includes Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, almost includes New York, but you guys could still see some severe weather today. Boston, we'll see what happens. Maybe these storms try to make it to your area a little bit later tonight and see if they have any steam to it. But a lot of these interior, smaller towns and cities in the Northeast, some of the mountainous areas could see a severe weather threat, mainly the interior Northeast for sure, and just a general marginal risk to surrounding this. And then we can get some tropical downpours down here in the southern sections of the U.S. But let's talk about that. There's a tornado threat, a 2%, not 20%, 2% chance of a tornado, 25 miles in any given location, a little bit further north in this slight region. And that is just because the dynamics and basically the conditions aloft support more of a tornado threat a little bit closer to the actual low pressure that is kind of riding the shortwave trough right here. So you're going to have better ingredients, kind of wind ingredients aloft, what we call the kinematics, for maybe a quick spin up with some of these storms. And wind damage, you got a 15% risk of wind damage occurring in 25 miles in a given location, winds pushing 55, 60 miles per hour. Hail threat, not much of a threat really today in any of the severe weather risk areas. There is a risk for flooding today, but I can tell you today will not be as bad as maybe the last several days. This is kind of the calm before the storm, if you will, as I do think each day going forward will have a more increased threat of flooding occurring in the southeast in general, with a marginal risk right here and right here that has at least a 5% chance of flash flood guidance being met in this area. And then you got monsoon season still kicking out here in the southwest with just plumes of moisture that continues to ride in. So be careful out there. If you look at the National Weather Service watches and warnings, we still got this brutal heat in Texas and the south central U.S. in general. And, I feel bad for you guys. I know I say it every single morning in every video. It seems like we repeat ourselves over and over again, but you guys are going to be very warm today. Heat index reaching well over 110 in a lot of areas, and just very hot, even air temperatures well over 100. The dew points, I'm sure, will not be sky high, but in general, there's going to be enough moist air to the atmosphere to provide a pretty dangerous heat index in this region. So, if you got any kind of heat advisories, excessive heat warnings especially, just limit outdoor activities as much as possible. And if you work outside, listen to your body. And sometimes your body doesn't tell you. You just got to drink water anyways. Just stay hydrated out there and stay safe. Let's talk about the Northeast, and we'll take a more broader look at what's going on real quick before we get a little bit more of a zoomed in look here. And we'll start this off around 9 a.m. Eastern time. We keep this going. Some storms already firing up here, maybe some isolated downpours in northern PA and interior central New York State. These move through, these may strengthen. I really think this severe weather threat or episode today, especially for the Northeast, will be more of an early day event. I'm not talking about the morning hours, but when we typically get our severe thunderstorms and thunderstorms in general, it's in the afternoon and evening hours, right? I think this is going to occur mainly in the early afternoon to mid-afternoon hours, and then kind of start to dwindle away as we start to get to the evening hours. But some intense storms right into here, into New York State, even some in Northeast PA. Some of these look like they almost have a hook signature to them, so we need to watch out for that. This will move into about the 2 to 3 p.m. time frame. This starts to enter Vermont, New Hampshire, Western Mass, and the New England area, with additional showers and storms firing here in northern West Virginia and southern PA. These could be severe, but I think down here, they will kind of be less widespread. The forcing will not be quite as there as the main shortwave trough is basically draped across here, and the main piece of energy that's providing such a lift for all these severe storms potentially. The main part of the forcing is going on probably right in the Northeast, but severe storms certainly possible even further down here. But with steep lapse rates in place, you're going to have a chance for an isolated tornado threat in this conditions. Environmental wise, that could definitely produce a severe weather threat in this region. So we're getting into about 3, 4, 5 p.m. range, widespread strong to severe storms in Vermont, New Hampshire, entering western areas of Connecticut and Mass. And then you got some pretty strong storms showing up here in areas of Maine, especially, first off in the earlier afternoon hours, probably approaching western areas of Maine. And then we'll see how much they maintain their strength as we're getting into around dinner time. And we're seeing these stronger storms in Maryland. Watch out, Philadelphia. Watch out, Baltimore. You got to watch out for this little storm right here. And then we're moving forward here. And then it's begin to kind of weaken. But a little bit closer look that shows actual cities on the map. Same kind of deal. We'll look at the HRRR model. Strong storm near Syracuse, maybe early on, maybe around noon. So here in the next few hours. Stronger storms right here just west of Albany, New York. These really start to cluster up and get stronger to severe as they enter Vermont. I think it'll be a very active day in Vermont today. These tornadoes are certainly not very common in this area. They're not very common anywhere necessarily, but certainly in the Northeast, they're not super common. But severe weather continues. Watch out around, Scranton, Pennsylvania, maybe a severe storm or two around between 1 or 3 o'clock this afternoon. Pittsburgh, and maybe around the same time frame, maybe a storm or two kind of outside the city limits there. And then these storms continue. New York City, you guys might not get a drop of rain, or you might get plastered by a pretty strong storm. You just don't know here. But you got some storms showing up at Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area, the Delmarva area. Maybe a strong storm or two. But it's going to be, I think they'll be widespread, but they're still going to be isolated enough to where certain areas might not get a drop of rain, but certain areas also might get strong to severe storms. But watch out New York City, maybe around dinner time. Southern New England could get some strong storms around dinner time. But I think the biggest threat will be earlier this afternoon if we back this up around this time frame right here, right when you have probably your highest tornado threat in these interior towns and cities right here of New York State, maybe Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Vermont. Certainly have probably the biggest tornado threat, if there is a tornado threat at all today. But, like I said, we're getting into the kind of the mid to late afternoon hours. Philadelphia down to Washington, D.C. These could certainly be knocking on your door, even up to Boston. We'll have to see how much they maintain. So just be careful in this region of the country today. Damaging winds are a big threat also. The southeast, if you watch down here, just a plume of moisture kind of just rotating around a little bit, trying to find its true identity, if you will. This will continue, and this will bring waves of tropical downpours into the Panhandle and the Big Bend areas of Florida and northern Florida, even into the Bayou of Louisiana, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and southern sections of Alabama and Mississippi. Some of these showers and storms can make it into Georgia. In fact, I think they will. And then some can make it all the way up into the Midlands of South Carolina. We will see how that happens. And then this energy right here is associated with the system we were just talking about in the Northeast. So it has nothing to do with this, but these will kind of collide. I mean, you're not going to get any kind of massive development with these colliding. This happens a lot. But in general, maybe some storms, maybe a stronger storm or two also here in southern sections of Kentucky, northern sections of Tennessee, maybe a little bit later this evening as these storms begin to lose their forcing, their strength a little bit. But maybe some showers enter South Carolina a little bit later today too. The north central U.S., pretty quiet. Some showers, some storms could pivot into areas of northern Minnesota, especially northeast Minnesota today. They could make their way into northern Michigan, northern Wisconsin, the northern Great Lakes region. Some of these, could be stronger, but I really think these will just be more so some downpours, maybe some small hail, maybe a little bit of a severe weather threat today, as y'all do have a marginal risk up here. But I think the biggest threat will probably be, if there's any threat at all, maybe some small hail, maybe a brief air storm or two could produce some damaging winds. But in general, just watch out for a stronger storm or two up here in this region of the country today. The south central U.S., pretty quiet, pretty hot. You guys, same story. The good news is maybe some isolated showers down here, maybe an isolated downpour or two here in, south central Texas. You guys could see a little bit of rain today. If you see it, definitely count your blessings and thank God for it, because it'll certainly be, not widespread, but it looks more widespread than maybe the last 2 days down here in drought-stricken areas of Texas. So watch out, Austin, San Antonio. I wouldn't say watch out. This will be beneficial rain, but hopefully you guys get some widespread scattered downpours out here. Not really any storms, just a good old soaking rain that can really help you guys out in that part of the country. But maybe some showers, some storms could help you guys out in Arkansas a little bit later today with this intense heat. But in general, here's what the heat could look like today per the HRRR model. Rain, cooled air keeps Georgia, South Carolina pretty cool today. The Panhandle of Florida, areas of southern Alabama, I think just a lot of clouds and maybe some showers. Certainly keep the temperatures on the lower side, maybe just in the 80s. Very humid air there, tropical air mass. But then there'll be an area here in New Jersey, the Delmarva, VA, southern New England, that could certainly get some big surface heating today ahead of this trough moving through. Could rip up some low-level moisture, and it certainly will feel like a summer day from Washington, D.C., up through New Jersey, New York City, into Boston. It will definitely feel like July today, as you guys have definitely had a nice summer so far in the Northeast. But the South Central U.S. very hot today, well over 100 degrees in Dallas again, probably pushing 100 degrees in Oklahoma City, Little Rock, Memphis, Shreveport, Louisiana. Just awful hot conditions that just seem to be relentless in this part of the country this summer. One of the hottest summers since, I don't know that I can remember. It's been pretty hot, I can tell you that. But we can take a look at satellite, what's going on in the northern Gulf of Mexico. We're getting what we call DMAX, which is basically called diurnal maximum, which is basically a favorable time in the morning period of tropical activity to really provide robust convection. So we're getting this kind of right now, some convection firing up in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll see what this does today. There's a couple models that like the idea of this really firing up decently quick today. I'm not talking about to a full-fledged tropical storm, but I'm basically saying there's a couple models saying that if this is going to do anything today, it's going to do it today and then push inland tonight. So we'll see if that's actually true. If that's true, then we're not going to get a named storm out of this. We probably won't even get a tropical depression. But it's a cool little feature right here. Is you basically got this little upper level low that's ripping a directional pull down to the south from the north. And then you got to pull back up to the north with this upper level low. So this is actually kind of helping to pull this and kind of keep this somewhat in the Gulf of Mexico right now, but we'll see what happens with that a little bit later today. But the National Hurricane Center, per the 2 a.m. update, we'll have another update here shortly within an hour. It's still just a 30% chance for this to develop within the next 5 days, so nothing has increased. And model guidance is kind of backed off from any kind of big-time development with this. But we'll see what happens. It can be kind of tricky scenarios. God bless all y'all. Have a great evening. And I will likely have you guys an update this evening on some updated material. You know, if nothing's really changed, nothing significant looks to be going on out there, then I might take a break tonight. But we'll see what happens. God bless all y'all. Have a great Tuesday.